Hi, I'm Tom Kenny, NASBA's Director of Communications, and you're watching NASBA's Leadership Series. Today we have Diane Rubin, member of the PCC, former chair of NASBA, and a CPA. Welcome, Diane.
Thanks, Tom.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations personally to you for this esteemed position to sit on the PCC. And everybody at NASBA wants to wish you a warm welcome and all the best of luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Our first question has to be about you, Diane, and how you got to this point in your career to sit on the Private Company Council. Could you give us a little bit of insight to that?
Sure. I started by getting an MBA in accounting from the University of Washington. And after I obtained my MBA, I moved to New York City and joined Waterhouse. And while there, I had just an incredible array of experiences, everything from auditing multinational corporations to performing litigation support work to counting the ballots for the Emmy Awards.
Counting the ballots for the Emmys.
Yes.
Now you have to give us a little insight about how that works.
Well, it requires great counting skills, first of all.
Wow.
And the ability to keep confidential information a secret. There were a number of people that wanted to know the winners, but as a person from Waterhouse, I was the one who actually prepared the ballots to be read by the actors on stage. It was a very exciting experience.
That is great.
But after being at Waterhouse in New York, I transferred to San Francisco, and I worked in the audit department there, and left as a manager to go into private industry, where I started to raise my two children. And when they were 3 and 7, I went back into public accounting, where I've been ever since. And during this time of my work career, I was also very involved in my community. I was on a county commission, which enabled me to meet a lot of people in county government and see the workings of the county government system. And then I met some state government officials who encouraged me to look at something on the state level, and that's where I got to the Board of Accountancy.
And as a member of the Board of Accountancy, you got involved in NASBA.
I got involved with NASBA.
And then served on the board for 10 years and then chaired the Board of Directors.
That's right, and because of NASBA, I became a member of the Auditing Standards Board, and subsequent to that, became a member of the Private Company Council. So it was a long, long journey, and in incremental steps. I'm sure people could do it a number of different ways,
right,
to go from student to Private Company Council, but that's the way that it happened with me.
Okay. That's a really great career story. Thank you. You chaired the Board of Directors at NASBA, and you served on the board for 10 years. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, I started as a Pacific Regional Director representing the western states and Hawaii. And then I was a director at large and served on a number of different committees within NASBA, strategic initiatives, the CPA Exam, and later became vice chair and then chair of NASBA.
So were you involved in the exam when we moved from paper and pencil to computerized?
I was. For 3 years I served on that committee, and we had to change from paper and pencil to a computerized exam, and everyone on the committee took a paper and pencil exam. So this was something that we all had to envision. We had to think about new ways of doing things, new ways of delivery, new ways of security. There were a myriad of issues, and it was a very fascinating experience and a very, very worthwhile project. We had a hard stop deadline, and it took a number of years to get ready for this computerized exam. And that deadline was approaching, and we made it. It went off very, very well. Some candidates waited the first month not to take the exam, probably waited to hear what their colleagues said about
Right,
the computerized
yes.
exam versus the paper and pencil. But then more and more candidates started taking it, and I think it's been a terrific success.
Well, thank you. That's great. That's great news. And I know you did a lot of work as a volunteer for NASBA on those committees, especially the exams committee. And now we're into over 10 years of the exam in computerized format, which is great as well.
It seems like a long time ago when candidates could only take the exam in May and November and had to wait several months before they received their results.
Yeah, their scores.
Now, all year.
Yeah, all year round.
And
Great.
receive their results, good or bad, they receive them very quickly. That's much, much better.
So deadlines. You said there was a hard stop for the exam. I know with the PCC, you folks are probably setting a lot of deadlines for yourselves. Are there any things in the horizon we can expect from the PCC and all the work that you're doing there?
Well, we've been in existence and been meeting for a little over a year, and we've already completed a couple of projects on goodwill and simplified hedging, sort of vanilla swaps. But there are several other areas that we want to work on in the next year or two. Certainly intangibles, combined instruments approach to hedging. We'll be looking at stock compensation. Variable interest entities are another issue that has been an area of concern for private companies, and especially common control leasing transactions, and so we're working on that. All of us on the PCC know that private companies are wanting to see what the PCC and the FASB will do to address private company concerns, and so we all want to do what we can as efficiently and as carefully as we can, but to get some of these issues that have been around for a long time dealt with, discussed, reached consensus, and endorsed by the FASB.
If you were chair of NASBA, what initiatives would you have for NASBA? And maybe in the world of standard setting?
I think that communication and the ability to use technology is very key for licensees, for consumers, for the public at large. And so to make sure that state boards are using technology to enhance their outreach, not only for consumer protection for that group of the population, but licensees, so they will know what all the requirements are, statutes and regulations. I think I would also look at education.
Okay.
Because the method of delivery is so different now than it used to be. A lot more online courses, so determining regulations and rules regarding the education process, I think would be a subject that would be very important to NASBA right now.
As a woman who has held numerous positions, you told us a little bit about your career, what advice would you have for the young CPA woman who's coming into the profession right now? Maybe they're sitting for the exam. What advice would you give to them?
Well, first I would say great choice in selecting accounting as a profession. I think it is a tremendous profession for a woman. I would advise them to not wait for a perfect opportunity to come by to enhance their career.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, as the opportunities come by, grab them and take advantage of them. They don't come by very often. And they never come by, it seems, at the perfect time. You're always busy doing something else, and here's an opportunity for you. It's important to go through that door, step through that door, because once you step through one door, another door will open, and another door will open. As I described before, my my role as a county commissioner, which led to a state position, which led to NASBA, et cetera, et cetera. That's the way opportunities work. Sometimes they're just small steps, and don't wait for the perfect step, but really jump at those opportunities or try to create your own opportunities to enhance your career.
So if you had, I'm not going to ask for the one word that would describe Diane Rubin, but could you give me 3 words in the professional world, what maybe your management style is, or how would you describe yourself in a professional way? 3 words.
Consensus builder.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 2? I don't know.
We'll hyphenate that and we'll call it 1.
A consensus builder. I think I'm a good listener is important, and this is a lot more than 3 words, but I think if you identify good people and give them the tools to do what they can do,
Mm-hmm.
and then get out of the way, let them shine, and everyone will feel like they've been part of a successful effort.
So you could probably say your leadership style could be you're the one opening the door for your folks,
Well,
and holding that door open for them.
Hopefully. I would
Great.
love to see them advance.
I worked for you as a staff person at NASBA for 10 years when you served on the NASBA board. And I know that you are a consensus builder. And that is one leadership attribute that I really appreciated from you.
Oh, thank you.
So I'd like to say thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come meet with me today and to tell us a little bit more about you, Diane Rubin, and about what you're doing with the PCC. I really do appreciate that.
Thanks, Tom. It was my pleasure to be here.
This is Tom Kenny with our guest, Diane Rubin, for NASBA's Leadership Series.